doing well. This is Jody with a brief warning. I'm going to be doing some Reddit scary stories by horror_writer_1717. So it's you/horror_writer_1717. Sensitive material, so anybody under the age of 18, he suggests in his introduction, should not be reading this material. Number one, let's get right into it. I need to thank the normal people. Actually, I need to think like the normal people, whatever that means. If every person in the world has a third eye, that would be considered normal. And if you only have two eyes, then would you be the one they torment with their jeering little smiles, snide little comments, and superior looks that make me want to saw their faces off with a machete? Normal, what a joke. I used to be the punchline just like everyone else. When did that change? Around the time I started working at this job. You see, I am the garbage man. I collect all of your worthless refuse. Some small amount I recycle, but not as much as people think. Even that comes back to me. It never ends. All I see every day is garbage. Once in a while, I will see something new that was thrown out by accident. As soon as it hits the pile, it becomes as useless as the rest. What do I do? He's pondering to himself. I come in every day in clean clothes, just knowing they are going to get dirty. Why bother? Because if I do not, then I may as well lay down and take my place with the trick and the teeters. I must rise above it. I must destroy it. Why don't I leave, you ask? You may as well ask a giraffe to burrow underground for a whale to take wing. I am who I am, see? I've accepted it. I will die here, imprisoned with the rest of the trash. One day they will start over and I will set my world ablaze. The smoke will be a pillar for all those to see. Then they will know that sometimes, just sometimes, true justice prevails. I shall hear the cries of the wretched refuse as they fall to immolation and eternal doom. Come in. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Gladys Howard. How was your weekend? Just fine. I did some gardening. Did you burn your weeds when you were done? Oh no, I compost. So you save the very things that threaten to choke out your garden in hopes that they might someday be useful. Well, I never heard it put quite like that. But yes, interesting. Are you alright, sir? You seem a little off. Oh, the damn budget meeting is today. Oh, will they finalize the plans for the new facility? Yes, I'm retiring as soon as it is done. But why, sir? I've had enough. What will you do? Oh, I have plans. I won't be bored. I'll miss you, sir. Nobody could do this job as long as you without letting it get to them. I smile. That's very nice of you to say, Gladys. She smiles back, then walks out. I lock the drawer and walk to the door. There step through and close the door for the last time. Voyeur. Story number 2. Brian shrieked as he regained consciousness. He looked around the dank basement. A glow emanated from behind him. Incredible pain drew his attention to his bloody wrists. Pieces of a saw blade had been cut off and welded to the handcuffs that held him in the old dentist chair. Every time he moved, the blades dug deeper into his shredded wrists, sending jolts of pain up his arms. "Ah, do you like them?" a man said, stepping from the shadows. "I made them just for you." Brian's head reeled from the impossible apparition. "Ryan, hello, brother." A sea of questions flooded Brian's head, but the biggest one rose to the surface. "How did you get out?" Brian flashed a demented smile. "Quite, it wasn't easy. But why aren't they looking for you?" "Oh, come on now. Let's focus on you." "I was a kid when Mom and Dad had you committed," Brian said. "I had nothing to do with it." "Shh," Brian said. "Do you hear that?" Brian cocked his head, but all he heard was blood dripping from his cuffs. "Yes, it's the sound of all the people who give a fuck about your pathetic excuses," Ryan screamed. "They never meant to hurt you," Brian whispered. "They thought you were unstable and dangerous." Ryan covered his face with his blood-soaked hands and looked out between his fingers, turning his hands into a demonic mask. "Well, they were right." Brian started to shake uncontrollably. Ryan basked in his twin brother's fear. Well, will you? What will you do to me?" Brian snuffled. "Oh, this isn't about you. It's about the life that was taken from me." Ryan slowly turned the chair until it was facing a large TV that showed a dozen webcams. Brian cringed when he saw images of the bathroom, his bedroom, his teenage son and daughter's bedrooms. "My family," Brian said. No. "My family," Ryan said, washing up and changing into Brian's clothes. "Please don't do this," Brian pleaded. Ryan looked into his brother's eyes. "Funny, that's exactly what I said before they committed me." Without another word, he turned, walked out of the room, and locked the door behind him. Brian's screams of anguish were like tonic to Ryan's soul. He closed his eyes and breathed deeply, enjoying every moment. Only when the screams faded to gentle sobbing did he walk away. "I'd better hurry," Ryan said, looking at his watch. "I should be getting home from work soon. I think we should have a family meeting tonight." A dark smile played across his face as he laid a butcher knife on the passenger seat, started Brian's car, and headed for his new home. That's one of my favorite. I just really like this. It makes you think. Apathy. Story number 3. like a power converter that changes direct current into alternating current. I turned my bedroom into apathy, or my boredom, into apathy. My boss was an overweight, vindictive woman who used to bring food in for the clerks every Wednesday. At first, we thought it was a nice gesture, until Tom said that he did not like her crab puffs. The change in her demeanor was total and terrifying. Tom did not work there much longer. He just did not show up one day. No one criticized her food after that. No matter how bad it was, we ate whatever concoction she made as she towered over us, waiting for approval. No one dared hint that it was not the most delicious thing they had ever tasted. For months, we endured this force feeding. If you look back over the records, I'm sure you would find the most absenteeism occurred on Wednesdays. I say this as I hang by a pair of handcuffs chained to her basement rafters. I guess I should not have said I hated her corn dogs, but I just did not care anymore. I just didn't care. The door opened and the stairs creaked as she descended into the basement. She was wearing a plastic smock over her clothes and a smile. Of the two, the smile seemed more odd. It was not warm or friendly, but the look of someone who had struggled with the balance of sanity and finally teetered over into unhinged. Comfortable? She asked as she lumbered over to a large wooden table with a meat cleaver stuck in it. What are you gonna do to me? I asked, trying to remember how I got here. Nothing. I just came down to get a roast from the freezer for tomorrow. It's Tuesday night, and I wouldn't want to disappoint your coworkers. She pulled a roast out and set it on the table. I glimpsed the marking on the package and retched. What's wrong? Are you sad you will not be there? Don't worry, I will save you some leftovers. You need to keep your strength up. She pinched my cheek, then mounted the stairs again. I watched her go up, hoping one of them would snap under the strain, and the fall would break her neck. No such luck. She paused at the top and looked back. It's a good thing you came along when you did. This is my last piece of meat. Memories flooded back to me as she slammed the door, the parking garage, a handkerchief over my face. But worst of all, the thing that scared me the most, the marking on the roast said in big black marked letters, Tom. A second chance. Story number 4. Edna never used to be afraid. She walked every morning, greeted neighbors, smiled at children playing, and felt safe. This was her neighborhood, far away from the horrible city. She had lived here for all her life. The crime and the violence never reached her. Then they came. She peeked out through the small slit between the boards that she covered the windows with. Other houses had the same look, boards nailed over windows, lawns unkept, like the entire neighborhood had been abandoned. She watched for the evil creatures who roamed seeking victims. Oh, thank God my pension is direct deposit. This store down the street used to deliver her groceries. Edna had ordered a large delivery before they stopped. She gave Bobby, the delivery boy, a $50 tip. Thanks for risking your life to take care of an old woman. I smiled and drove away as a pizza delivery van screeched around the corner, nearly bearing down on him. Within seconds, the all-too-familiar rat-a-tat of a fire rang out. Bobby's truck swerved and hit a pole. The van stopped and a young man hopped out. He yanked Bobby's body from the truck, took his wallet, and got back into the van. The tires squealed as they drove on a sight. Edna stepped away from the window, collapsed in her chair, and wept. Bobby's body lay there, decaying for days. A horrible artifact of the way things were. Edna knew that there were people in the other houses, but none of them risked exposure to move him. Calling the police had become an exercise in futility. They were so overwhelmed that they would not bother with a single low-profile murder. Edna phoned other stores in the area looking for someone to deliver her food. The ones that bothered to answer said it was too dangerous. In desperation, she ordered from a website. Surprisingly, the delivery truck showed up the next day. The young man was very nice and helped her carry the groceries inside. Within 5 minutes of him leaving, there was another van at her front door. Edna turned on the TV to forget about the horrors of the world. And the selfie the girl took helped police identify her killer. The handsome anchorman said, in other news, the president today denied allegations of corruption, saying that a recent abolishment of the Second Amendment and subsequent confiscation of all privately held firearms was not influenced by a second party. She claimed that the violence would diminish once more police were hired. When asked where the money would come from, the press conference abruptly ended. Edna closed her eyes and dreamed of a time when her late husband had chased off robbers with his Service 45. I'm glad he did not see the day when the government would turn its back on people like this. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sound of a chainsaw cutting through her front door. Her front door. Story number 5. Story number 5. Caretaker. Freddie drove past the cemetery every day on his way to work. Most days he was too busy trying to induce hearing loss through loud music to give it a second glance. One day he noticed a freshly dug grave. He quickly pushed this to the back of his mind, along with the weather forecast, and continued about his day. 2 weeks later, the grave still sat empty. It had become more than a curiosity for him. It was bordering on obsession. Every day, as soon as the cemetery came in sight, his eyes shot to the open grave, like it was calling him, right? Finally, he could not take it anymore. He pulled in, parked his car, and walked up to the rectangular hole in the ground. mist appeared, becoming stronger the closer he came to the grave. He stopped a few steps from the open hole. The mist seemed to emanate from it. Freddie glanced over at the headstone and his blood froze as he read, Frederick Joseph Scully's, born 9/7/81, died, dash. He could not read the number, but the stone was not blank either. It looked like someone had written something to be chiseled in later. Freddie leaned over the open pit, trying to see more clearly. He stumbled and lost his balance. His arm swung madly as he hovered over the edge and finally recovered. At first, a chill ran down Freddie's spine. Then he started laughing. "What's so funny?" an old man asked him. "Geez," Freddie squealed, doing a comical little dance. You nearly scared the life out of me." Interesting choice of words, given the situation. Freddie looked him up and down. He was tall but robust, weighing easily 250 pounds with a bit of a pot belly. He looked like a soldier that had gone to seed. "Who the hell are you?" The old man smiled. Again, an interesting choice of words. "Let's just say I'm the caretaker around here. I'm making sure the graves get filled. Okay," Freddie said, taking a few steps backwards. The old man made no attempt to follow him. He just leaned on his shovel, staring at Freddie. "Why did you laugh when you saw the name on the stone, as if you did not know?" "Why would I ask if I knew?" "No, okay, I'll play along. My friends and I like to play pranks on each other." The old man looked at the grave. "Wow, that's quite elaborate for a prank, don't you think?" "Yes, I wonder how much they paid you." "For what?" "For this fake tombstone." "Who said it was fake?" The caretaker rapped the head of his shovel against it and was rewarded with a loud clank. Freddie's smile faltered. "Are you saying it's real?" The caretaker's eyes bored into Freddie's. "Look, man, I'm saying maybe it's time you look at yourself more seriously. The world does not need another 34-year-old infant." Freddie eyed him suspiciously. "How did you know I'm 34? The old man rolled his eyes and pointed toward the birth date on the stone. "Because I can add." Freddie's face turned beet red. "Oh, wow. Look at the time. I'm late for work." He turned and quickly trotted back to his car. "Well, stop by any time," the old man called after him. "I'll be here." Freddie sped away from the cemetery a bit too fast, distracted and quite rattled from his encounter. He did not see the deer in the middle of the road until it was too late. He wrenched the steering wheel hard, causing the car to slide into the path of an oncoming truck. An hour later, the old caretaker stood among the group of onlookers as Freddie was loaded into an ambulance. The old man smiled, then went back to his cemetery. Over the next several years, the old man read newspapers and magazine articles about a brilliant young biologist who had turned tragedy into triumph. Frederick Scully's was mere inches from death's door after surviving a brutal accident which severed his legs just below the knee. But he did not succumb to hopelessness. No, not at all. He looked inward and found new determination. Once he was released from the hospital, he redoubled his research efforts, and his dedication brought forth one of the most astonishing discoveries of all time. Dr. Scalise invented a substance that allowed doctors to clone healthy body parts out of an unhealthy body. He started with himself cloning new legs. This substance allowed the grafted body part to be accepted by the body. I was able to sit down with Dr. Scalise in a recent exclusive interview the magazine article read. So tell me, Dr. Scalise, how is it your technique making artificial limbs obsolete? What it does is make a clone for a specific appendage or organ, then it fuses the cloned part over a period of time, becoming part of the body. And how is this possible? For obvious reasons, I do not want to reveal the exact chemical process. Just suffice it to say that a rapid growth gene mixed in with a few other things is what provides the magic. I hear you also are trying your technique to clone hearts, kidneys, and other organs. Oh, we're in the trial stages, but it's looking very promising. The caretaker chuckled as he finished the article. 3 years later, a familiar face returned to the graveyard. The caretaker laid down the magazine that announced Dr. Frederick Scalise wins the Nobel Prize. Frederick parked his car and slowly walked up to his still open grave. He stared down into the hole with none of the hesitation or hilarity of the previous visit. This time, resignation weighed heavily in his eyes. Congratulations, the caretaker said, walking up behind him. For what? Freddie said without turning. Winning the Nobel Prize. Yeah, thanks. You don't seem happy. And what should I be happy about? Being the hero of the injured. Freddie whipped around and glared at him. Hero, of course. How many people's lives have you changed? Millions? Tens of millions? Maybe more, Freddie said absently. So why wouldn't that make you happy? It should. But Freddie's eyes lit up with indignation. You know, don't you? Know what? I'm dying. How would I know something like that? Freddie collapsed to the ground, sobbing. They found it last year. They tried to treat it, but it didn't respond. What? Cancer. The word hung in the air like the mist that had crawled out of the grave just a few short years ago. They ran the tests on me. Freddie said they found it started in my new legs. Apparently the rapid growth gene matures into some new kind of cancer. So that means, yeah, every one of my limb and organ recipients have it too. They've named it Scalise cancer. I'm sorry to hear that, the caretaker said with his head bowed. No, you're not. You knew exactly what you were doing. Challenging me to work harder, distracting me so that I would not pay attention. You knew I would create the black plague of the 21st century, that tens of millions of people would die because of me, and all I needed was a little motivation. Did I somehow magically save your life too? If you feel like blaming someone for your problems, tell the man in the mirror. I do every day. Young man, I'm sorry about your troubles, but I'm very busy. The caretaker walked away, and Freddie turned to see over a dozen freshly dug graves. Oh my God, are these for your patients? Possibly. Freddie bowed his head. Oh, by the way, the caretaker said, they finished the inscription on your headstone. Shock ran through Freddie's mind with the realization of the implication. He turned, as if drawn by an invisible force, toward toward the stone that already bore his name and his birth date. The one that left was a harsh revelation. But that's tomorrow's date. Tomorrow's date. Why, yes, it is. Okay, everybody. I am actually back. Before I was kind of not in the best place to read. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I wanted to get this out before tomorrow, but it doesn't look like it's. I swear. If I try to catch up, I end up falling behind. Does anybody else have that problem? Alright, so let me read a little bit more to you. Because I'm literally so excited to read. You horror _writer _1717. And don't worry, I will put it in the comments. Well, yeah, I'm gonna put it in the comments. Continuing on, I think we're on story number 6. So, sick. The flame stirred to life, flared brightly, then settled into a steady burn, just like Mandy's life. At the top of her age, at the ripe old age of 29, she had already lived through more than most people twice her age. She touched the flame to the end of her cigarette, blew out the match, and took a long drag, further damaging her cancer-infested lungs. She had no idea that she would be dead before the glowing embers reached the filter. The cool evening air gusted, tugging at her bathrobe, making her cinch the belt a little tighter. She loved wearing white. It gave her a sense of purity that she only felt right after a shower. She smiled as she leaned over the edge of the balcony, showing a little bit of cleavage to an old man in the apartment across the street. He always pretended not to see or notice. Yet the pictures he painted all had flesh colors in them and a vaguely feminine form that was not nearly as disturbing as when he would take one of the paintings with him to the bedroom so he could appreciate it. She took another drag of her cigarette, teasing the old man was her new hobby ever since she had conquered her vertigo problem. Months ago, when she had first stepped onto the balcony of her new apartment and leaned under the rail for a smoke, she had become so dizzy that she nearly fell 17 stories to become the building's new doormat. Since then, she had used her addiction to conquer her fear. Every time she wanted a cigarette, she forced herself to go out onto the balcony and lean over the railing. She learned this lesson from her mother. Just stick with it no matter what, and it will work out in the end, Mom used to say. She chuckled at the thought. The same philosophy that earned me several hospital stays and Mom an early grave. She took another drag and then flicked the ashes into the wind. sudden gust made her rope brush against her leg as if something was there. She swatted at it, but there was nothing. My last boyfriend broke me up the abuse cycle, apologizing the whole time I was loaded into the ambulance until the cops took him away. Then the curses that came out of his word would put a sailor to shame. She absently rubbed the scar. She absently rubbed the scar on the back of her head that reminded her of him. A short piano riff played, informing her that she had a text message. She pulled her phone out to see who it was. No name appeared in the heading. It read, "Very slowly take off your robe and let it slide to the floor." Really? Okay, perv. Why should I do that? She texted back. Because you'll die if you don't. She paused. Her veins turned to eyes as she looked around at the hundreds of windows in the buildings on her block, feeling very, very exposed. I would too, by the way. Oh, really? Well, why don't you tell me where you are? That doesn't matter, he texted. Well, if you want your peep show, I need to know. Fine, look up to your right. She scanned the direction, she was told, and found a middle-aged man looking at her and holding his hand up. Like, hello. There was something mounted on a tripod he was looking through, but she could not tell what it was. From this angle, it looked suspiciously like a rifle. I see you. What's the matter? Too cheap to rent a adult video. You don't seem to be taking this very seriously. Let me say it again. Take your robe off right now, very slowly, or you're dead. Do it now. Don't threaten me. I'm calling the But that's as far as she got. She felt a sudden sharp pain in her neck, reached back and grabbed the offender. Her eyes grew wide as chest pains rocked her body. She stumbled forward and upended over the railing. They raced towards the pavement. Mandy, her phone, and the black widow spider that had crawled up the back of her robe and bit her. The cigarette lay on the sidewalk beside her mangled body, its embers slowly reason, memory, even vision. The first crack appeared a minute later, and still he pummeled mercilessly. After the crack, then came more quickly until the structure collapsed, leaving a fist-sized hole. His victim had never given resistance. Unconscious and mercifully taken him. And yet the beating continued until Randy's adrenal glands stopped pumping and physical exhaustion had overwhelmed him. The first twinge of pain told the story of the shattered bones in his hand. He looked around the room as if waking and seeing it for the first time. Spots of blood splattered against the wall and the framed documents that hung on it as if a careless painter had flung it there. Oh no, he collapsed against the wall. Oh God, he slid to the floor, staring at the floating corpse that lay beside him. He picked up the phone and pain exploded through his hand as he pressed the 3 buttons. And 911. An hour later, he was cuffed and riding in the back of a police cruiser. As they drove towards Randy's bleak future, the officer envisioned the headlines in tomorrow's paper. Oh yes, prominent psychiatrist murdered by his own patient. Who and how were questions that had already been answered, like a dam that was about to burst. The officer could not hold back his curiosity any longer. He looked at the bloody and broken man in his rearview mirror and asked why. Randy's shoulders slumped as he looked down at his ruined and bandaged hands. His half-lidded eyes struggled to meet the officer's gaze. All I remember is him telling me that I had anger issues. I guess he was right. She had been a good swimmer for as long as she could remember. She just took to it naturally. She loved the freedom of being totally submersed. It reminded her of something, but she could not remember what. All she knew was that her arms and legs made her move in ways that made her feel at peace with the world. It came as quite a surprise when one day someone suddenly decided to drain the pool. As the level went down, her anxiety rose. What's happening? Anxiety quickly grew to terror when her foot became trapped in a tube she had never noticed before. She fought with all her might to dislodge it, but it seemed like some unknown malevolent force was working against her. Harder and harder she pulled until the pain became unbearable. Just when she thought it could not get any worse, came the unthinkable. Her foot was torn from her leg. She stared in disbelief at the forced amputation. An anguished scream escaped her lips, but the tube was not finished with her yet. It continued to ravenously devour the rest of her leg, ripping flesh and sinew. Blood poured. She convulsed violently. Shock set in when the tube tore the outer leg from her body. Barely conscious, she fought against it with her arms, only to have them ripped violently from her as well. Help me, please. That was her final thought before her torso was eviscerated, leaving only her head to be crushed. all of her dreams, all of her choices stolen from her before she drew her first breath. A small bottle full of red viscera was carefully labeled and taken away with the greatest of care, out of sight, out of the young woman who laid on the hospital bed crying. Did she suffer? The young woman asked the doctor through her tears. The doctor corrected. What? It's easier to deal with if you consider the fetus to be in it. The girl bitterly wept. Studies have shown that they do not have conscious thought or feel pain until near the end of the third trimester. The doctor lied mechanically, the way he had thousands of times before. The important thing is that you exercise a lawful choice over your body, and no one can take that away from you. What about her choice? She said through racking sobs. The doctor said more forcefully. Number 9. Execution. The doctor woke up. The doctor woke up, found in his own office chair, seated in front of him, was an older gentleman in coveralls. I understand that you have recently done a medical procedure on my daughter. Under doctor-patient confidentiality, I cannot discuss that. The older man smoothly rose from the chair. He walked over to the doctor and punched him in his nose with such force that blood sprayed everywhere. Sprayed everywhere. Now, let's begin again, the old man said. Yes, the doctor gurgled and then spat blood. Why was I not informed of this impending procedure? She's 18. However, she is still under my care, therefore I should have been consulted. According to state law. Another fist to the face. This one nearly shattered his jaw. And what does the law say about you murdering my granddaughter? Not murder, he joked. Then he spat out a few teeth. The old man smiled. The old rhetoric right up to the end. The room was suddenly flooded by a loud noise of a truck backing up. Perfect timing, the old man said. See, I own a business which deals in waste disposal. This truck has been specially modified to deal with special circumstances. 2 large men appeared in the room. One was carrying a cement saw and the other wrestled a large metal tube into the room. See, I studied what you do in one of those procedures. It seems to me to be a rather brutal and gruesome act for one human to perform on another. Not human, the doctor struggled to say. No, you're not, the old man said. We'll do it your way and call this a post-birth abortion. He took the cement saw and cut the doctor's foot off. The scream was drowned out by the sound of the giant vacuum hose sucking the foot into the truck. The old man chuckled as he cut the leg at the knee and again at the hip with the hose. Man dutifully sucking up body parts and slowly as a single tear ran down his cheek. A single tear. Eyes. And this is number 10. I open my eyes and fight off a wave of confusion. In front of me is a blank, green-colored wall that I did not recognize. Where am I? I stare at it for a long time as if I'm waiting for answers to magically appear like a teacher writing them on a chalkboard. The longer I wait, the less likely it seems. The wall continues to stay blank, but something does happen. I see eyes. I turn to the right, and there they are, eyes staring at me. Not helpful eyes, not concerning eyes, piercing eyes that accuse, eyes that say, why are you here? I really wish I knew. I really wish I knew. I would feel self-conscious with these eyes pouring into me. But I cannot remember what they think I have done, if anything. Well, the accusing eyes say. Well, what? I replied. Do you have something, or do you have anything to say for yourself? About what? The accusing eyes turn into angry eyes. You know damn well what. He throws pictures on the table, one by one. Each is another person, or what is left of a person. They all have been horribly mutilated. My eyes blank. My eyes. They're blank. They turn from the images and survey his mask coverage. We're done here. Take him back. Compassionate eyes say, barely restraining livid eyes. You'll never wash the blood off your hands. Livid eyes screams at me. Anxious eyes unlocks my chains and helps me up. We quickly leave as compassionate eyes yells at livid eyes. As we leave, I hear a loud slap of hand against my face. I dare not turn to see who is on the receiving end. We trudge down a hallway as fast as my metal bonds will allow. What did you say to the detective? Anxious eyes asks. I told him I don't know. Anxious eyes becomes curious eyes. Do you know? I turn to him with honest eyes. No. He smiles with accepting eyes and returns me to my cage. He releases my bonds of steel and turns to go, pausing in front of my cage. Maybe someday it will come back to you. I smile with thankful eyes as he leaves to attend the others. I sit on my stained, worn-out mattress and pull out my stained, worn-out Bible. Matthew 6:22-23. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is evil, your body will be full of darkness. Therefore, if the light within you has turned into darkness, how great is that darkness? I put down my Bible and stride over to my sink. I turn on the water and scrub my hands, looking into the mirror. Honest eyes stare back at me. The corner of my your stress out. Yes, 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 yes. Alright. Okay, we're shaking out all the stress. All of the stress. Take a deep breath. focus on these. That's why I like I don't know, there's something about these that you focus on. You focus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think there's less background noise. This is our relaxation. Nice and soft. Nice and soft.